Hello, this is Angelia, and this is today's Bible reading. Hope you guys are doing okay out there. We had some pretty thunderstorms move through here, and they're gone now, but our internet was out for like an hour and a half, so I knew I wasn't going to have a very productive day. But I had a little time before I had to do our housework, personal business work. So I'm going to get the Bible reading in, and that is the most important one of the day, isn't it? So, to lead people that way. And today's reading comes from Exodus 1. Israel multiplies in Egypt. Remember, Joseph had passed away, and now his sons and their people and everybody is still in Egypt in Goshen. Now these are the names of the sons of Israel who came to Egypt with Jacob. They came each one with his household: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah; Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin; Dan and Naphtali; Gad and Asher. All the persons who came from the loins of Jacob were 70 in number, but Joseph was already in Egypt. Joseph died, and all his brothers and all that generation. But the sons of Israel were fruitful and increased greatly and multiplied and became exceedingly mighty, so that the land was filled with them. Now a new king arose over Egypt, who did not know Joseph. He said to his people, "Behold, the people of the sons of Israel are more and mightier than we. Come, let us deal wisely with them, or else they will multiply, and in the event of war, they will also join themselves to those who hate us, and fight against us, and depart from the land." So, Pharaoh thought he was being shrewd. So they appointed taskmasters over them to afflict them with hard labor. And they built for Pharaoh storage cities, Pithom and Ramesses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied, and the more they spread out, so that they were in dread of the sons of Israel, because they were a bigger group of people, and so they were worried that if war was to break out, this bigger group of people might come down on them with their enemies. The Egyptians compelled the sons of Israel to labor rigorously, and they made their lives bitter with hard labor in mortar and bricks, and in all kinds of labor in the field, all their labors which they rigorously imposed on them. And that never has a good outcome when you're kind of basically enslaving folks. Then the king of Egypt spoke to the Hebrew midwives, one of whom was named Shiphrah, and the other was named Puah. And he said, "When you are helping the Hebrew women to give birth, and see them upon the birth stool, if it is a son, then you shall put him to death. But if it is a daughter, then she shall live." So, the devil had his claws in Pharaoh then. He's doing the devil's work. He's evil and killing folks. But the midwives feared God, as they should, and did not do as the king of Egypt had commanded them, as they shouldn't, but let the boys live. So the king of Egypt called for this midwives and said to them, "Why have you done this thing, and let the boys live?" 'Cause they were decent people. Hello. The midwives said to Pharaoh, "Because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women, for they are vigorous and give birth before the midwife can get to them." So God was good to the midwives, and the people multiplied and became very mighty. Because the midwives feared God, he established households for them. So if you do the right thing, God's going to take care of you. Then Pharaoh commanded all his people, saying, "Every son who is born you are to cast into the Nile, and every daughter you are to keep alive." So again, Pharaoh, devil had his claws in him, getting him to commit murder of, babies. So, infanticide. So, not cool. Let's see what our biblical scholars have to say about this. This section recounts Israel's final years in Egypt before the Exodus. Genesis also reported the names and the number of Jacob's descendants who came to Egypt. 70 in number. Acts 7:14 reports 75 with the addition of 5 relatives of Joseph included in the LXX, but not the Hebrew text. The summary of a lengthy period of time moves the record from the death of Joseph, circa 1804 BC, the last recorded event in Genesis, to the radical change of Israel's history, such as from favor before Egypt's Pharaoh to disfavor and enslavement, circa 1525 through 1445 BC. The growth of the nation was phenomenal. It grew from 70 men to 603,000 males 20 years of age and older, thus allowing for a total population of about 2 million, departing from Egypt. The seed of Abraham was no longer an extended family, but a nation. The promise that his descendants would be fruitful and multiply had indeed been fulfilled in Egypt. A new king arose. This king is either to be identified as one of the Hyksos kings during a period of political disintegration, or as Pharaoh Ahmose I, founder of what archaeologists have designated as the 18th dynasty of the New Kingdom period in Egyptian history. It is probably best to take this new king, who did not know Joseph, as a Hyksos ruler. Furthermore, the term arose signifies rose against, which accords well with a foreign seizure of the Egyptian throne. The Hyksos, circa 1730 through 1570 BC, came from outside of Egypt. Another summary of a fairly lengthy period of time, as indicated by the population continuing to grow in spite of increasing hardship imposed on Israel. The people. An Egyptian pharaoh designated Israel as a nation, marking the first time the term people or nation is used on them. Join those who hate us, appointed taskmasters over them. Israel was assessed both as a threat to national security and as an economic asset. Slavery would therefore control the danger and maximize their usefulness, except that never works out. Storage cities, Pithom and Ramesses, places where both provision and military hardware were stored. Archaeological identification has not been finally definitive, with some 3 to 5 options being put forward for them. Pithom is usually taken as a center of so-called solar worship, in northern Egypt, and Ramesses as Qantir in the eastern Delta region. In addition, the city might very well have been renamed under the reign of the later powerful pharaoh, and that name was better known to Israel later on. The case of Laish or Leshem, renamed Dan in Genesis. The Egyptians, the native inhabitants, continued to enslave Israel. Between 12 and 13 major change in Egyptian history took place. The Hyksos were driven out. Hard labor in mortar and bricks. Archaeologists have uncovered reliefs and paintings confirming the Egyptian practice of imposing forced labor on prisoners and slaves. These paintings also show foremen and guards watching construction work while scribes registered data on the tablets. The midwives feared God. These brave older women reverenced their God and thus obeyed him and not man, which is what everybody should be doing, especially now. They obviously understood that children were a gift from God and that murder was wrong. The 2 midwives mentioned by name were probably the leading representatives of their profession, for it is unlikely that such a burgeoning population had only 2 midwives to deal with all the births. And it might have just been like my husband's family and country, that people just had their own baby. The failure of rigorous bondage to suppress population growth necessitated that different measures be taken. Hence, the royal order to the Hebrews midwives to murder male infants at birth. Birth stool, literally 2 stones on which the women sat to deliver. Rather than trying to argue for a justifiable lie on the part of the midwives seeking to protect God's people, take it as a statement of what was true. God was directly involved in this affair of birth and national growth. That's the key to understanding why no decree of Pharaoh would work out as he intended it, and why Hebrew women were so healthy and gave birth with ease. The failure of the extermination program demanded of the midwives finally caused Pharaoh to demand that all his subjects get involved in murdering newborn boys. So he's making all his people be murderers. Some of this is sounding a little familiar with things going on today, is what I'm going to say. Let's look at our supporting scripture. Genesis 14:14. When Abram heard that his relative had been taken captive, he led out his trained men, born in this house, 318, and went in pursuit as far as Dan. So see, Abram wouldn't take no crap from somebody messing with his people. Genesis 35:22. It came about while Israel was dwelling in that land that Reuben went and lay with Bilhah, his father's concubine, and Israel heard of it. Now there were 12 sons of Jacob, the sons of Leah: Reuben, Jacob's firstborn, then Simeon and Levi and Judah and Issachar and Zebulun. The sons of Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin. And the sons of Bilhah, Rachel's maid, Dan and Naphtali. And the sons of Zilpah, Leah's maid, Gad and Asher. These are the sons of Jacob who were born to him in Padan Aram. Jacob came to his father Isaac at Mamre of Kiriath Arba, that is Hebron, where Abraham and Isaac had sojourned. Now the days of Isaac were 180 years. Isaac breathed his last and died, and was gathered to his people, an old man of ripe age, and his sons Esau and Jacob buried him. Genesis 46:8. Now these are the names of the sons of Israel, Jacob and his sons, who went to Egypt: Reuben, Jacob's firstborn. The sons of Reuben, Hanok and Palu and Hezron and Carmi. The sons of Simeon, Jemuel and Jamin and Ohad and Jachin and Zohar and Shaul, the son of a Canaanite woman. The sons of Levi, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. The sons of Judah, and Onan and Shelah and Perez and Zerah. The sons of Perez were Hezron and Hamul. The sons of Issachar, Tola and Puvah, and Iob and Shimron. The sons of Zebulun, Sered and Elon and Jaleel. These are the sons of Leah, whom she bore to Jacob in Padan Aram with his daughter Dinah. All his sons and his daughters numbered 33. The sons of Gad, Ziphion and Haggi, Shuni and Esbon, Eri and Arodi, and Areli. The sons of Asher, Imnah and Ishva and Ishvi and Beriah and their sister Sarah. And the sons of Beriah, Heber and Malchiel. These are the sons of Zilpah, whom Laban gave to his daughter Leah. And she bore to Jacob these 16 persons. The sons of Jacob's wife Rachel, Joseph and Benjamin. Now to Joseph in the land of Egypt were born Manasseh and Ephraim, whom Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On, bore to him. The sons of Benjamin, Bela and Becher and Ashbel, Gera and Naaman, Ahi and Rosh, Muppim and Huppim and Ard. These are the sons of Rachel, who were born to Jacob. There these little thin pages. Come on. Were 14 persons in all. The sons of Dan: Hushim. The sons of Naphtali: Jaziel and Guni and Jezer and Shillem. These are the sons of Bilhah, whom Laban gave to his daughter Rachel. And she bore these to Jacob. There were 7 persons in all. All the persons belonging to Jacob who came to Egypt, his direct descendants, not including the wives of Jacob's sons, were 66 persons in all. And the sons of Joseph, who were born to him in Egypt, were 2. All the persons of the house of Jacob who came to Egypt were 70. And notice they don't mention all the girls, because girls were chattel back in the day. Sexist. Numbers 146. Even all the numbered men were 603,550. That's a lot of folks. Of course, I guess like they were having 14 kids and stuff, so they were being fruitful and multiplying. Joshua 19, 47. The territory of the sons of Dan proceeded beyond them, for the sons of Dan went up and fought with Leshem and captured it. Then they struck it with the edge of the sword, and possessed it, and settled in it. And they called Leshem Dan, after the name of Dan their father. This was the inheritance of the tribe of the sons of Dan, according to their families, these cities with their villages. And 21:1. Then the heads of the household of the Levites approached Eleazar the priest, and Joshua the son of Nun, and the heads of households of the tribes of the sons of Israel. They spoke to them at Shiloh in the land of Canaan, saying, The Lord commanded through Moses to give us cities to live in, with their pasture lands for our cattle. So the sons of Israel gave the Levites from their inheritance these cities with their pasture lands, according to the command of the Lord. And Judges 18, 29, yeah. They called the name of the city Dan, after the name of Dan their father, who was born in Israel. However, the name of the city formerly was Laish. Is that all? No, I thought there was more. And let's see, Acts 7:18. Until there arose another king over Egypt who knew nothing about Joseph. And that was the beginning of their problems. But it was going to work out well for them, wasn't it? So that is the story of Israel multiplies in Egypt. Amen. Please like and share this word so we can spread it around the world. If you want to help me out, subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you want to help me out even more, go to my Patreon page and become a patron. Thanks for watching. That's all for now. Until next time.